Namaskar. Today we'll study the glucocorticoid receptor. This glucocorticoid receptor is a type of nuclear receptor, but it is located in the cytoplasm. And when the agonist binds or the glucocorticoid binds, it enters into the nucleus. That's why it is called a nuclear receptor. So the glucocorticoid receptor is present in the inactive form because it is bound to the heat shock proteins. And the glucocorticoids, if we see the example of glucocorticoids, they are taken by different routes. All glucocorticoids or corticosteroids are taken orally. Cortisone, deoxycorticosterone, triamcinolone, these are taken intramuscularly. Dexamethasone, hydrocortisone, prednisolone, methylprednisolone, they are taken intravenous and intramuscular. Beclomethasone, fluticasone, flunisolide, triamcinolone, these are taken by inhalation route. And we can take beclomethasone, dexamethasone, hydrocortisone, triamcinolone topically. So these drugs are basically used as anti-inflammatory drugs, and just see how they function. One example here, we will discuss it. So first, this glucocorticoid receptor is present in inactive form because heat shock protein is bound to this receptor. And when glucocorticoid enters, binds to this receptor, the heat shock protein is removed and there will be dimerization of the receptor, and that dimerized receptor will enter into the nucleus, will bind to the glucocorticoid response elements in the DNA to regulate the gene transcription to produce specific proteins. And these glucocorticoids, to enter into the cell, they need a carrier protein called corticosteroid binding globulin, to which they will bind, and that helps it to enter into the cell. And in the cytoplasm, it will bind to the receptor. There will be activation of the receptor because there will be removal of heat shock proteins, and followed by dimerization of the receptor. So if you see what are the cellular functions, so glucocorticoid binds to the corticosteroid binding globulin, enters dimerization, that is homodimerization, then it enters into the nucleus and binds to the glucocorticoid response elements, production of transcription factors, there will be gene transcription. So some genes will be activated, some genes will be suppressed, and accordingly the proteins will be produced or proteins will not be produced. So all the cellular functions are done by this response. Promotes gluconeogenesis, protein catabolism, lipolysis. Alters blood cell levels, decreases eosinophil, basophil, monocyte, lymphocyte, decrease in eosinophil, basophil, monocyte, lymphocyte, increase in erythrocyte, platelet, and neutrophils. So immunosuppressant, they act as immunosuppressant. They show anti-inflammatory actions by stimulating lipocortin, which inhibits phospholipase A2, inhibit expression of COX-2 gene, and inhibit generation of cytokines and other inflammatory mediators. So all these actions are there to show their anti-inflammatory effect. And if you see here, phospholipids, that is phosphatidylinocytyl diphosphate, because of phospholipase A2 action produces arachidonic acid, then arachidonic acid by action of cyclooxygenase COX produces prostaglandin. COX can be COX-1, which is constitutive, present always, COX-2, which is inducible during inflammations or injury, and then these prostaglandins cause vasodilatation, edema, and produce inflammation. Corticosteroids, when they regulate the gene transcription, and accordingly some proteins are activated and some proteins are suppressed. Here you can see they activate lipocortin and suppress the COX gene expression. So by suppressing COX gene expression, the COX enzyme, which is a protein, the production will decrease. So in this way, corticosteroids can act as anti-inflammatory, and this lipocortin is activated. So lipocortin inhibits phospholipase A2, so there will be decreased production of arachidonic acid, hence decreased production of prostaglandin. So in this way, corticosteroids act as anti-inflammatory drugs. So this is all about corticosteroid receptor. Thank you.